Hey guys, what is up? It is Trim here. I'm bringing you another Legacy of the Duelist Link Evolution video. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm just going to go ahead and give you, just a general review of this game. It's the first one I've done, so if you like this kind of content, let me know and I will continue making more. But anyway, here we go. This game, for me, was really what brought me back into Yu-Gi-Oh! And I suspect the same thing is going to be true for a lot of returning players. They'll see this game out there, realize how much they like the game, try to get back into it. So, is this game worth the money? Is it worth the $40 that you will spend on it on the Switch? I think so. I know there are a lot of players that have a lot of different complaints about it. So we are going to go through some of those complaints. The first one is going to be the Forced Edition of Master Rule 4s. Now this is the biggest complaint that I see from a lot of players, is the Forced Edition of Master Rule 4 here. Which basically means that if you want to play more than one extra deck monster, you need link monsters in your deck, which is kind of a weird design decision, especially considering this game is kind of meant to teach a lot of the old school players how, all these different summoning mechanics work. But forcing the new rules on some of the old gameplay styles is just not, it doesn't feel good, and I think giving players the option to kind of choose on how they wanted to play would have been good. Because now you're seeing that, see, if I want another Synchro monster, I have to send it to the graveyard first, bring it back with Monster Reborn, and that is the only way to do that in these old series like 5Ds and things like that. It's just kind of a shame that the game forces you into using these in the story modes. I sort of get why they did it, for consistency, but it really should have been something that was optional. Okay, so a next major point of complaints with this game is going to be the card shop and the way that battle packs work and the way that you have to acquire new cards. The thing with this is there are about 300 cards in every battle pack. As you can see, there are a ton of battle packs concerning major characters from all the different seasons. So you can buy cards from those battle packs to get cards kind of related to what they use in the anime and that kind of thing. Of course, random things had to be thrown in there just because the sheer amount of cards in this game is like 9,000 cards. So like Kaiba's will not only give you Blue Eyes, but it'll give you Thunder Dragon cards. Yugi's is Dark Magician, obviously, things like that. Cyrus is going to be not only his Speedroid cards, but also things that like Zane would use in the show, so like Cyber Dragons, that kind of thing. Bastion is pretty much his deck, but also some of the villains that he fought in the show, like Camula, you can get her vampire cards. I forget what the T-Rex guy, I forget his name, but you can get his cards from Bastion's pack as well, things like Infinite Impermanence, stuff like that. So there are a bit of weird additions. Yusei's got a standard junk deck. So cards are where you would expect them, but there are also a bunch of random additions. So if you're having trouble finding a specific card in a specific pack, go to thecardhub.net. They have everything there that you guys will need to find. The downside with these card packs is they are completely random, and all the best cards are going to be really hard to get. You will have to spend a ton of money to get them, or not money, but in-game currency to get them, and that currency can take a while to farm. The best way to farm that currency is to go and forfeit over and over and over again in some of the challenge modes. That's the fastest way you can earn it. Then you will go and spend that currency in the card shop to build whatever deck you want. This can take a while to get these cards. The good thing about the card shop, however, is unlike Duel Links, there are no microtransactions. I think it's got Duel Links beat 100% just because of that. Alright, and the last major complaint I have with this game is just how slow it is. This is probably one of the slower Yu-Gi-Oh! Games I've played. And that doesn't feel good. Just with the sheer amount of pop-ups, it's like, yeah, you can skip some of those by, you know, just holding B, but just look how slow this is. Like, any Yu-Gi-Oh game is much faster than this.
Three weeks later.
God, I would play the rest of the duel, but honestly this is maddening how slow this is, and so if you want to grind for ranks online, this is going to be kind of what you're dealing with here, and it does not feel good. So, anyway, now that we have got all the bad things out of the way, I know I've kind of trashed on the game a little bit, but I actually really do love this game. I think it's a great Yu-Gi-Oh game, and it is absolutely worth the money for a lot of the positives that we're going to talk about. So, despite the slowness, multiplayer is super fun. I love multiplayer. If you can stand the slowness, it's worth it. Deck editing is honestly some of the best deck editing I've seen in a game. You can really just search for whatever card you want. So like, this is my random Blue Eyes deck. It's not amazing, but if I wanted to find a Blue Eyes card, you know, it is not hard. See, we got Priestess with Eyes of Blue, Sage with Eyes of Blue, Rage with Eyes of Blue. Like, it is not hard to find the cards that you guys want. You can type in specific monster names, just add them to your deck, extra deck, side deck, whatever. So, I think deck editing is super easy in this game, especially compared to most of the other Yu-Gi-Oh games I've ever played. The next positive thing about deck building is you can have up to like 32 decks, which honestly is going to be more than enough for 90% of players. You know, I mean, I've maybe got 10 decks myself, and I can't even flesh all of them out because of the weird kind of card list that is in this game. This game is about, I don't know, 9-10 months out of date, so not every card is in the game. There are a huge selection, though. I think it's still more than any Yu-Gi-Oh game. You know, things like the dangers and that kind of thing, since they're newer, they're obviously not in this. The ban list is sort of a weird combination of the OCG and TCG from last year. It's not amazing. I sort of wish they would have just kind of gone with TCG instead of also including the OCG in it, but that is okay. It is what it is, so we will have to just kind of work with it. Next, this game is a full experience Yu-Gi-Oh game. It allows you to play through any of the campaigns that you see here. So you can play through Yu-Gi-Oh, Yu-Gi-Oh GX, 5Ds, Zexal, Arc V, and Vrains. Now the downside with Vrains is there's only about, you know, 3 different duels you can do, and one of them's a tutorial to teach you about link summoning. So Vrains isn't amazing yet, so here's hoping we get some DLC for that. But it basically lets you play through most of the important duels throughout the series. You can use your own deck, or you can use the story deck. I found I had the most fun using the story deck. That was the most challenging. If you use your own deck, you are just going to breeze through this and destroy everything. The only one that I had a little bit of a trouble with in the original series was going against darts with the story deck, but it is doable for sure. So you have that, you have your 5Ds, there are some questionable omissions, but most of the series, what made it great is there. The story is sort of told through these random cutscenes that you're going to see here. I would have liked to see voice acting. It is a bit of a disappointment that there is no voice acting in the game. That would have just improved the overall quality for me. But if you don't mind that, if you don't mind reading these cutscenes the way they are, then it can be a very fulfilling experience as far as the story mode goes. It will go through and start you at the original series, then it will go to GX, then 5Ds, and it will kind of teach you slowly more and more and more about the different summoning mechanics. So I do recommend, especially if you guys are old school players, that you start from the beginning, go down the list, and you can learn about the different summonings. It'll teach you about fusions first, then it'll teach you about synchros, XYZs, everything, and going in order is honestly the way to do it, so that way you get accustomed to things. That's why I do also recommend playing the story mode decks, because it does teach you how to use those decks, how to use XYZs, how to use synchros, how to use links. It's the better way to learn the game, in my opinion. Alright, next we also have Battle Pack play. It basically lets you just make a deck out of a bunch of random cards, and then you can kind of duel with random people online. So that is also a fun way. The downside with battle packs is there's just not a lot of people that play this mode. Most people that play online will just play like ranked or player matches and stuff. The ranked and the player matches themselves are not amazing, because it's like there's no win-loss ratios or anything, so there's no real way to climb the ladder other than just grinding out this game a bunch. Like, you just have to get a bunch of wins. If you want to get into, like, you know, the top 10, that's going to be thousands upon thousands of wins. That is going to take you a long time. I've probably put more than 200 hours into this game, and I'm nowhere near the top 10. So just to give you an idea of how long that would take you to grind. That's the downside with ranked. Player matches are fine. It's standard from what you'd expect from a player match. Everything is still slow online. Local matches are, obviously if you have a friend that you want to play with, and I think that if you do have friends that you like to play with, and you don't want to spend a ton of money on the actual cards, because we all know that the actual card game is super expensive, then, this is a great game for that. You can absolutely duel however you want with your friends. You can have all your infinite impermanences, that kind of thing, without spending $150 on a set. That would be the way to go if you have friends that also have a Switch that are into Yu-Gi-Oh! So that is my review, guys. I think that the single player is a lot of fun. Would have liked to see more voice acting. The multiplayer is fun, but it is super slow. The card shop can be a little bit frustrating, especially trying to build decks. And it is also a great way to come back into the game, however, and just learn all the new ways to summon. It taught me a lot. It taught me how to link summon. It taught me how to XYZ. It taught me how to synchro. These were all things that, as a returning player, I had no clue about until I played through all the campaigns and slowly learned and slowly built upon that knowledge. So it is great to bring you back into the game. It is not the be-all and end-all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Games. I think that it's enough to hold me over for now, but when something else comes along that doesn't have microtransactions, then I might switch over to that. Alright, thanks guys, that is my review. I hope you guys understand I'm not trying to trash on this game, I'm just giving you my honest opinions. I still think it's worth the purchase, so go ahead, buy the game. I will look forward to playing you guys online. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of the game in the comments, if you agree, if you disagree. That covers this review. Alright, I will see you guys next time.